Bob is truly unique in terms of personality and skill set. He can be an honest broker. He can be in a situation where he makes you have to decide what you want to do.
Bob is a very decent person and also a very warm and engaging person, but he has sort of an outrageous style.
Great Texan, a great American, I mean a truly great global figure in our time.
Robert S. Strauss was born in 1918, the son of Jewish immigrants. He grew up in the West Texas towns of Hamlin and Stanford. Even then, his mother predicted Bob's big personality would lead him into politics.
He had a burning desire to succeed. He wanted to make a difference.
At the University of Texas, Bob stoked his political fire befriending another aspiring politician, John Connally. He also volunteered for Lyndon Johnson's congressional campaign and worked as a clerk in the Texas legislature.
LBJ always said that, he sort of separated the world into the workhorses and the show horses, and Bob was a workhorse.
By 1943, Bob had earned his UT law degree, married his wife Helen, and landed a job as an FBI agent. One of his first assignments took him to an illegal gambling casino.
So the Bureau gave him $25 or $30, and he and Helen go out to this place, and Bob was looking out, trying to find suspicious characters in the crowd and all that. And then he started shooting craps, and he said the next thing he looked up, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, he was up $300, and for the last 3.5 hours, he'd completely forgotten he was an FBI agent.
At the end of World War II, Bob and Helen moved to Dallas, where he started a small law practice with Dick Gump. Bob remained close to John Connally, who by 1960 was Secretary of the Navy. It was Bob who helped convince Connally to run for Texas governor. And with Bob serving as advisor and fundraiser, Connally won.
Bob came out of this cluster of real strong, hardcore Texans. They were Frank Irwin and John Connally and others. It was a close-knit group.
In Washington, Bob had earned a reputation for his fundraising prowess and keen political insight. But when the imposing President Johnson sought Bob's advice on escalating the war in Vietnam, Bob regretfully withheld his true opinions. He would never do that again. In 1972, Bob was asked to serve as National Democratic Party Treasurer and later Party Chairman. His leadership at the 76th National Convention helped change the course of the election, unifying the party behind the underdog candidate.
Bob managed to push the other guy's speech late in the night, so not many people were watching, and he got my acceptance speech in prime time.
Bob's management of that convention became a model that others who had responsibility for subsequent conventions, people I knew, would look back on and learn from.
Once elected, Carter appointed Bob U.S. Trade Representative.
We were in a tough time in our administration, and I'd asked Bob to come into the Oval Office to talk about how we could regain some of the support we'd lost. And he said to me, "You know what the problem is? You used up all your damn luck getting elected."
President Carter had great trust in Bob, making him his personal representative to the Middle East. Bob responded by administering the crowning achievement of the Carter presidency, an historic peace treaty between Israel and Egypt.
One of the interesting things about Bob's career is that he had the confidence of both Democrats and Republicans. That's an almost unheard of situation today, but Bob was remarkable in that respect.
When President Ronald Reagan was embroiled in the Iran-Contra affair, it was Bob who convinced him to fire White House Chief of Staff Donald Regan. It was a turning point for Reagan's presidency.
Bob's got an uncanny ability to be blunt and insightful at the same time. And I don't think his audience makes much difference, except that perhaps if you're president, he may be even blunter and more explicit.
In 1991, as the Iron Curtain was crumbling, President George Bush and Secretary of State Jim Baker turned to a fellow Texan to serve as ambassador to the Soviet Union.
Strauss was a very unique appointment, which seemed to communicate we care about Russia, and we're sending one of the president's friends to be there. And Bob went.
Who better to represent the United States than a person who could connect with Mikhail Gorbachev and perhaps with Boris Yeltsin.
Not long after his arrival in Moscow, Bob attended a funeral for rebels who died in the coup. Without any warning or preparation, Boris Yeltsin asked the new U.S. ambassador to speak.
Today, we in the United States of America share your sorrow at the price these brave souls paid in the just cause for which they and you fought. They did not die in vain.
From that moment on, Bob was seen as a supporter of Russia, and it made his mark as ambassador.
In 1992, Bob returned to the States and back to his law practice. By then, Aiken Gump had grown into a global firm with more than 500 attorneys and advisors in offices around the world. Bob's expertise in international public affairs made him highly desirable for lectures and speeches. In 2007, UT established the Robert S. Strauss Center for International Security and Law to build on Bob's legacy of global leadership. When asked what he's most proud of in his life, Bob answers the whole damn deal.
I think if you look back over the last 50 years, you would have to say that Bob was one of the most influential people in Washington through successive administrations.
He's truly a great public servant, someone who has always put the interest of the public first and foremost.
He symbolizes the very best in the qualities that we most need in American politics today.
Tonight we honor Robert S. Strauss with the History-Making Texan Award for the counsel and service he provided 4 different presidents and his unique ability to transcend politics and bring nations together.